And then that brings me to Friday night football. Of course, we got the Utah Utes heading up to Corvallis for what? Well, I don't want to spoil it, but that game is on Friday night. We'll have the preview for you tomorrow. But for now, there's another game going on Friday that I wanted to get into. So I'm sure all of you seen the post this week. ACC Network, ESPN put it out there. The ACC with their 6 undefeated teams at 4-0, the most in conference history. So that's Florida State off this week. Miami off this week. Syracuse has a very, very honorary Clemson team coming off fresh of that loss to Florida State. Season probably over as far as the ACC title goes. They're just going to be in the mood to kick some ass coming up to the Carrier Dome or whatever they call it now. You got Duke hosting college game day for the first time ever against Notre Dame, against College Football University, the North Carolina Tar Heels. This is interesting. But then we got this undefeated team Friday night going into Raleigh, North Carolina, none other than the Louisville Cardinals. So, coming into this season, I don't know if I was high on Louisville or if it was more so I just looked at their schedule and I didn't see the big boys. I didn't see Florida State. I didn't see Clemson. So I thought that they had a chance to make the ACC championship game. Not win it, but just get there because they avoid everybody. Now, they do come to Raleigh in this game. They do play Duke. So that's obviously going to be a tougher game than we had anticipated coming into the season. They still play Notre Dame out of conference, but my thought was Louisville was the closest thing to TCU that we would have this year. And like I said, it wasn't based on talent or skill. It was just based on their schedule. I felt the same way about Oregon State, getting into Friday night, the Utes coming to Corvallis. Pay attention now. I'm trying to give you a word. Now, this game on Friday night, NC State is a tough place to play. NC State has always been a pain in my side because I'm a Florida State fan, of course, and they have probably had more success against Florida State than any ACC team not named Clemson in recent history. So Raleigh is a tough place to play. Louisville's going in there. What are they taking with them? They're 9th nationally in total offense, averaging 43 points a game and 542 yards per game. I did not misspeak. That's what I said. So, problem is, those numbers were built up against Georgia Tech, Murray State, Indiana, and Boston College. They put up 56 on Boston College the other day, 56-28. When I look at their schedule, this is their first true road game. They played Georgia Tech, but they played them at the Georgia Dome, at the compressor, as I like to call it. They played Murray State at home, of course, because that's an FCS team. And then they played at Indiana, but they played them at Lucas Oil Field instead of going to Bloomington. So this is their first road game on a Friday night, big time spot nationally, ESPN, lone game. That's asking a lot. Jack Plummer coming in from Cal, transfer quarterback. Looked good so far under Coach Brian Brom. Brian Brom's going to turn Louisville around and have the offense humming, but still some time off before they can be truly a contender. But NC State brought in Brennan Armstrong from Virginia. 60% completion, 850 yards, 5 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. They barely escaped Charlottesville last week with a 24-21 win over the Hoos. Almost went into overtime. So NC State, I think, wants to get back on the field and, get another crack at it because that was pretty embarrassing. What can help them is that Louisville is 64th in total defense. So they should be able to move the ball against Louisville's defense. Where is this game going to be won? 3rd down and the red zone. So Want more numbers? I gotcha. NC State converts 52% of their third downs. So it's going to be important for Louisville to get off the field and not let NC State sustain drives. They're not going to probably get a lot of explosive plays, but they can eat some clock. Conversely, Louisville wants to have a track meet. So who can impose their will on the game? NC State, as good as they are offensively on third down, they're just as good offensively because they're only allowing 30% conversions against their defense. The red zone. Louisville is tied for sixth in the country. When they get into the red zone, they score. NC State, on the other hand, when teams get to the red zone against them, they score. So NC State has given up a touchdown, or I'm sorry, a score every time someone has entered the red zone on them this season. So, players that I got my eye on. I'm looking at Peyton Wilson, not just because we share the same last name, graduate linebacker over at NC State. I got my eye on, and I know y'all gonna think I'm so biased, but I got my eye on Jarvis Brownlee Jr., the corner out of Louisville. He played for Florida State last year, already 4 pass breakups this year and 11 passes defensed. So, I think the defenses are going to tell the tale of who wins this game. With that all being said, putting a button on it. Raleigh is a tough place to play. This is Louisville's first true road game, but I just don't trust NC State enough. I don't trust Brennan Armstrong enough. Good, solid team, but they can't keep up with Louisville. So give me the Cardinals 34-23.